Hey, okay, yesterday we got almost halfway through.
Yeah.
And we ended, let's see.
Where the Norns are.
What? Yeah, I did. I'm just trying to find the right sentence.
I know it needs. They restart on the whole page.
Okay. When we finished yesterday, they were in with the Norns.
Yep,
The
they
three
are.
women who weave tapestry all the time.
Just tell the story.
And they're doing one about
The wizard.
the ice wizard.
No, it's close when it's
Huh?
It's close when you took off the
Oh yeah, and showed that he didn't have the eye. Yeah, that was kind of disgusting. The picture tells the story of the wizard's life, explained the brown Norn. One picture showed two children playing together. Another showed a boy running after a swan. Another showed two white wolves. And another showed an eye in a circle.
Oh, that's the eye.
What's the story of the eye? Jack asked. Long ago, the ice wizard came to us seeking all the wisdom of the world, said the gray Norn. We said we would give him wisdom if he gave us one of his eyes. He agreed to the bargain. The wizard doesn't seem very wise, said Annie. Indeed, he's not, said the brown Norn. We planted the seeds of wisdom in his heart, but they never grew.
That's bad.
That is bad. Why did you want his eye? Asked Jack. We wish to give it to the frost giant, said the blue Norn.
Why would a giant want an eye?
The frost giant, said Teddy. Who is the frost giant?
Yeah, who is it?
I don't know. I've never heard of it before.
Oh, those are creepy.
Oh,
They're like
wow,
scratchily
those are
old.
Can I see the eyes? Can I see it? Oh, can I see the eyes? No, just teeth. I want to see the eyes.
Get over there, so please.
The eyes are here. The eyes. Is that the eye?
Mhm.
Have you ever seen it? It's this.
There's the
What? Say hi to other people.
Kind of ugly, huh?
They're way up.
Yeah, so now.
There's the
My Santa's open into it.
Time to make it summer water ball. Can never get away. That's the voice, you can never get away. Now we have to pull it.
They are.
My
Yeah.
lanyard's never get
I would.
My backpack's
Okay, in 5, 4, 3. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The other Norn cackled. Well, go now, said the gray Norn. Travel towards the North Star. When you reach the snowy hills, look for the one whose peak is missing. Jack, Annie, and Teddy started towards the door, but Kathleen stayed behind. Forgive me, but I have one more question, she said. She pointed to the picture of the swan and the boy on the tapestry. What is this story? 'Tis a sad tale, said the gray Norn. The ice wizard had a younger sister who loved him more than anything in the world. One day they fought over something foolish. He lost his temper and told her to leave him alone forever. She ran down to the sea in tears. There she found a flock of swan maidens. They gave her a white feathered dress. She put on the dress and became a swan maiden herself. She flew away with the others and never returned. After that, the ice wizard was never the same. When his sister left, he grew cold and mean-spirited. 'Twas as if his sister took his heart with her when she flew away. That is sad, said Annie. How will the ice wizard's story end? You, not we, will determine the threads we weave next, said the brown Norn. We will, said Annie. Yes, said the gray Norn. Our powers are fading. Our plan no longer works the way we expected them to. The ice wizard has no wisdom. The frost giant has no sight. You must go now and finish the story. The three sisters smiled at their visitors. Their skinny fingers fluttered over the weaving like butterflies over flowers. Jack couldn't help smiling back at them. But then he thought about Merlin and Morgan. He thought about all the dangers waiting outside. One last question, he asked. What's the story of the two white wolves? Oh, the wolves, said the blue Norn. Do not fear the wolves. A life without wolves would be boring indeed. Her two sisters smiled in agreement. For the moment, their smiles made Jack feel unafraid of the white wolves, and the ice wizard, and the frost giant. Goodbye, 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 said the three sisters. Jack and the others waved goodbye. Then they slipped out of the house of Norns and into the icy night. Chapter 6. In the hollow hill. Standing in the cold. Standing in the cold, Jack felt afraid again. There were big paw prints in the moonlit snow all around the house. The wolves were here, said Kathleen. Perhaps we should go back inside, said Teddy. No, said Kathleen. We must walk with Jack and Annie back to the sleigh and send them on their journey to the hollow hill. Yes, of course, said Teddy, nodding. As they all headed cautiously towards the rocks, Jack glanced back at the house of Norns. He wished they could return to its cozy warmth. Kathleen put her hand on his shoulder. Come, she said. You must hurry. Jack trudged along with the others through the passages in the rock. When they got to the other side, there was no sign of the two white wolves. Hey, who would you like? Okay, guys.
Just in case.
Yep, don't forget your pencils.
And yesterday was a fluke. I looked at today's schedule yesterday. They're Thursday and Friday, just so you know.
These guys?
Yeah, it's usually Thursday, Friday.
Okay, did you take them?
The schedule's gonna change anyway.
Did you take them yesterday? You
I
did,
did.
didn't you?
And they
Okay.
were the ones that were like, but it's Wednesday.
Are you going to take them tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. The silver sleigh was waiting in the moonlight. Jack and Annie climbed inside it. Can't you come with us? Jack asked Teddy and Kathleen. Remember, you said if we all work together, we can do it. Aye, said Teddy, but what the ice wizard said is true. Only mortals can undo a bargain with the fates. Do not fear, said Kathleen. We will be with you in spirit, and we will meet you back at the wizard's palace at dawn. How will you get there? Asked Annie. I have a few rhymes I can try, said Teddy, smiling. And I have a bit of a sulky magic, said Kathleen. And we have our wind string, said Annie. Hasten then to the hollow hill, said Kathleen. And remember what the Norns told you. Never look at the frost giants.
How do you do that? That's like impossible.
I know, said Jack. He pulled out the wind string. He took off his gloves and untied a knot.
Down.
A breeze began to blow. Jack untied a second knot. The breeze grew stronger. The sail unfurled, and the runners slid forward. Jack untied a third knot. The wind began to blow hard. The white sail snapped, and the sleigh took off through the night. Stand fast, Teddy called after them. Jack and Annie waved goodbye. Soon the sleigh bumped onto the snow-covered plain and veered off sharply to the right. Can you put them away, please? Thank you. No, towards the North Star, Jack called to Annie. Annie turned the rudder, steering the sleigh back on course. They sailed towards the bright star in the distance. As the silver runners swished across the wind-swept snow, Jack braced himself against the cold. He kept a lookout for the white wolves, but he didn't see any sign of them, as the sleigh sped across the moonlit plain. Soon he could see a row of snow-covered hills. Look, he said, there it is. He pointed to one of the hills, the only one without a peak. Tie her down, Annie shouted. Jack tied a knot in the string, and the sleigh began to slow down.
What's a peak?
Pardon?
A peak?
Peak. So when you look at the mountains, they come up like this. This is the peak of the mountain.
Oh. But that
So this
one's
one's
like flat.
so this one's flat instead of going up to a peak.
Yeah, it's a mountain, but it's
Right.
flat.
No, that's my waterfalls. You have two.
It's like there's a big football stadium down there.
He tied a second and then a third. The wind died down completely, and the sleigh coasted to a stop at the foot of the hollow hill. Jack and Annie climbed out. Jack looked up at the steep white slope. How do you get inside? He said. I don't know, said Annie. How do you think the frost giant gets inside? Oh, the frost giant, said Jack. He really wished Teddy and Kathleen were with them. He felt as if part of their team was missing. Annie seemed to read his thoughts. We can do it, she said. We have to, for Morgan and Merlin. You're right, said Jack. They studied the hill in the moonlight. Up there, is that an opening? Asked Annie. Maybe, said Jack. Let's climb up and check it out. When they climbed a little way up the hill, Jack could clearly see a break in the snow-covered slope. Let's see if it leads inside, said Annie. Wait, what about the frost giant? I have a feeling he's not here right now, said Annie. We better go in and find the wizard's eye before he comes back.
He's there, I know it.
Yes, he's there.
Okay, said Jack, but be careful. They scurried further up the slope. When they came to the opening, they stepped through a huge crack into the hill. Jack and Annie found themselves on a ledge above a deep, rounded hollow. Moonlight flooded down through the open hilltop. At the bottom of the hollow was a flat spot, where it looked as if the snow had been blown in circles. That must be where the giant sleeps. Yeah, and it's probably where he hides the eye, said Jack. We just have to find a hole, remember? He repeated what the Norns had said. In the hollow hill is a hole. In the hole is a hailstone. In the heart of the hailstorm, stone hides the wizard's eye. Ooh, right, said Annie. Jack looked down at the snowy swirl. He looked back at Annie. Onward. Onward, she whispered.
What's the movie?
What?
What's the movie?
Onward.
Yeah, there's a movie called
Onward.
Onward.
Onward to the throne. Onward
Five,
to the
4,
throne.
3,
Onward
2, Jesse. 1.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Annie stumbled and fell. Whoa, she said. I think I just found the hole. I stepped in it. Annie reached down into a small hole in the floor of the hollow. There's something in there, she said. She pulled out a chunk of ice the size of an egg. The hailstone. In the dim light, it was impossible to see if anything was inside the ice chunk. We don't know if this is the right hailstone, said Jack. We'll have to wait until daylight to see if the eye is in there. It has to be the right one, said Annie. How many hailstones are hidden in a hole in a hollow hill? Good point, said Jack.
15.
Annie turned the hailstone over in her hand. Maybe the eye is looking at us right now.
That's gross.
The wizard might be seeing just like what
The
you're
wizard
doing.
can probably see through it. But
That's scientifically impossible, said Jack. An eye can't see unless it's connected to a brain. Yeah, and a string can't make wind blow either, said Annie. Forget science in this place. Wait. She caught her breath. Do you feel that?
It's
Feel what? Said Jack. The ground is shaking, said Annie.
close your eyes.
Jack did feel the ground trembling.
the wizard.
He heard a strange sound, too. A loud huffing.
It's a prairie dog.
Prairie dog. Prairie dog. A big prairie dog that is stomping noise.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A loud huffing sound coming from outside the hill. Huff, huff, huff. It sounded like breathing. The giant's back, said Annie. Oh no, cried Jack. The ground kept rumbling. The breathing got louder. Hide the hailstone, said Jack. Annie shoved the ice chunk in her pocket. Huff, huff, huff. It sounded like the giant was entering the hollow. He's coming, said Annie. Hide, whispered Jack. Jack pulled Annie into the shadows. He remembered the Gray Norn's warning. Anyone who looks directly at the frost giant will freeze to death at once.
Oh, jeez. That's crazy.
Whatever you do, do not look at him, he whispered to Annie. Crouching in the dark, they buried their faces in their hands and waited. Chapter 7. The Frost Giant. With each breath from the frost giant, a blast of cold wind swept through the hollow. Jack trembled. He felt chilled to the bone. Huff, huff, huff. Jack crouched lower and held on tightly to Annie. The giant's breath howled like 100 ghosts through the hollow. Jack thought of the Blue Norn's warning. He is a blind force of nature that spares nothing in its path. But then the giant's breathing seemed to grow a bit softer. What's happening? Jack wondered. The breathing grew softer and softer. Maybe he's going to sleep, Annie whispered. The breathing became calm and steady. The wind died to a light breeze.
Oh, Jesus.
I think the frost giant is sleeping, Annie whispered. We should try and sneak out of here. Okay, but keep your eyes down. Just look at the ground, whispered Jack. Right, whispered Annie. Now, Annie never listens to anything Jack says, right?
No.
Let's hope she does this time.
Because if she does, then she has to listen to Jack forever.
Their heads
Yes, he
bowed,
did.
Jack and Annie crept cautiously across the floor of the hollow and began climbing up towards the crack. Jack's teeth chattered, but he couldn't tell if it was from cold or fear. Suddenly, a deafening roar shook the night. The frost giant screamed with windy rage. He was awake. Jack was blown to the ground. He tried to crawl across the snow, but he didn't know which way to go, and he was afraid to look up. Jack, this way! Annie's voice called from above the roar of the giant's breath. She helped him up, and they struggled together against the wind. Finally, they came to the crack in the wall. Jack and Annie scrambled through the crack. Outside, the wild wind knocked them over, and they tumbled down the side of the hill. The wind swirled across the snow. Annie, Annie, Jack called. Where was she? Where was the sleigh? He couldn't see anything, and he couldn't stand on his own feet. The wind roared even louder. An avalanche of snow came crashing down the hillside.
Oh no.
When it hit the ground, the snow exploded into a great cloud of white powder.
Oh.
Jack! Jack! Jack heard Annie's voice in the screaming wind. He tried to stand up, but the snow kept falling on top of him until he was completely covered. As Jack lay buried under the snow, all his strength left his body. He knew he should dig his way out, but he was too cold and too tired. He was too tired to look for Annie. He was too tired to fight the frost giant. Instead, he closed his eyes and drifted into an icy sleep.
Oh jeez.
That's the exact opposite of what you should do, right?
Yeah,
The
come.
giant is gonna kill you.
Jack dreamed that cold fur was brushing against his face. He dreamed that a wolf was digging around him, nudging him, pushing him, sniffing him.
Oh, that's
That's
what's
probably
happening.
what's gonna be.
But Annie.
Jack opened his eyes. He felt dazed. At first he couldn't see, but he could feel that he wasn't buried in the snow anymore. He wiped off his glasses. He saw a low moon and some stars in the clear sky.
It's almost done.
The frost giant must have left, Jack thought. But then he heard a panting sound.
Oh.
He sat up and looked around. One of the white wolves was crouching right behind him.
Oh. That's what's happening. I get it.
Jack scrambled to his feet. Go away, he shouted. The wolf stepped back and growled. Go, 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 shouted Jack. He picked up a handful of snow and threw them at the wolf. The wolf backed away a few more feet. Jack looked around wildly. Annie was lying very still on top of the snow. The other white wolf was sniffing and pawing at her. Jack's anger made him fearless. Leave her alone, he shouted. Go away. He scooped up some more snow and threw it. The wolf stepped back. Go, go, shouted Jack. Get away. Leave us alone.
He's not a dog person.
He glared angrily at the two white wolves. The wolves stared back at Jack, their yellow eyes gleaming. I'm not kidding. Go, said Jack.
He's not a dog person. You know that.
Jack stared fiercely at the wolves. Finally, the wolves looked away. They glanced at each other and then slowly backed off. They looked at Jack and Annie one last time. Then they turned and trotted away over the snow.
The wolves are just trying to help people.
I know.
Are they either helping or trying to eat?
Helping.
Jack rushed to Annie. He knelt beside her and lifted her head. Wake up, he said. Annie opened her eyes. You okay? Jack asked. Yes, I dreamed about white wolves, Annie murmured. Me too, said Jack. And then, when I woke up, they were here. They were about to eat us.
Maybe not. Maybe they're trying to help you, like, get up.
So then
They're nice.
Really? Annie sat up and looked around. Yeah, but I scared him off, said Jack. What about the frost giant? Annie said. He's gone too. Come on, let's get out of here. He helped Annie up from the snow. Do you still have the wizard eye? Annie felt in her pocket. Got it, she said. Good. Jack looked around. Beyond the heaps of fallen snow and the silver sleigh was waiting for them. Overhead, the sky had turned a light shade of gray. It's almost dawn, said Jack. Remember what the wizard said?
Oh, yeah.
We have to bring back his eye by the break of day, or we'll never see Merlin and Morgan again. Jack held Annie's hand, and they trudged together through the snow. When they got to the sleigh, they climbed inside. Annie took her place at the rudder. Jack pulled out the windstring and untied a knot. The breeze rocked the sleigh. Jack untied a second one, and the sail began to fill. He untied a third, and the silver sleigh moved forward, gliding over the white ground. The breeze rocked the sleigh. I already said that. He untied a third, and the silver sleigh moved forward, gliding over the white ground. The sleigh moved through the thick snow and away from the hollow hill. As they sailed over the white plain, the sky turned from gray to pale pink. We have to go faster, said Annie.
untie every single knot.
Jack untied a fourth knot. The wind whistled in his ears. The sleigh picked up speed. Annie steered it past the rocks and over the ice. She steered it over the plain, south to the palace of the ice wizard. When the sleigh drew close to the palace, Jack tied a knot. They began to slow down. He tied 3 more, and the sleigh came to a stop. Jack and Annie looked around in the faint, cold light. I wonder where Teddy and Kathleen are, said Annie. They said they'd meet us here at dawn. Jack studied the vast white plain, but he saw no sign of their friends. He wished he had Kathleen's vision. I hope they're okay, he said. I hope they didn't run into the white wolves. I have a feeling the wolves wouldn't hurt them, said Annie. The wolf in my dreams seemed nice. Dream wolves are different from real wolves, said Jack.
Wolves will kill you if they see you.
I don't think we can wait for them, said Annie. The eye has to be back by the time the sun comes up. The eye, said Jack. We never looked to see if it was inside the hailstone. Annie reached in her pocket and pulled out the hailstone. She held it up. Jack gasped. Staring out at him from inside the ice was an eyeball.
Ew.
It was about the size of a large marble. The eyeball was white with a sparkling blue center. Oh, man, whispered Jack.
Is there a picture?
It's beautiful, isn't it, Annie?
What?
You're gonna wait.
What?